Everyone tells you that farm work is the hardest part about staying in Australia, but that's not quite right. The real battle begins as soon as your visa ends and the soul-crushing bureaucracy of permanent residency takes over. Today I'm breaking down the hidden costs and the mental toll of choosing Australia over Germany. Let's dismantle the romanticized image of the Australian dream. Hello and welcome back to a new video. I'm Sarah, I'm from Germany and I've been living in Australia for the past 3.5 years. And if you've watched my last video, you will know that I've applied for the partner visa in January 2026. And this year everything gets a little bit more serious. So let's get into the video. You know, when I was a backpacker, I was so carefree. I just did whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Besides the stress that I had to finish my farm work, I was absolutely living the dream. After being delayed for so many years during COVID, I was just living my best life. I was enjoying the freedom. You know, you meet new people every single day and they can either become your best friends or you just let them go after a few days. And you just travel wherever you want and stay how long you want, take on a job, whatever you want. And it was the absolute best freedom I ever had in my life. And I loved every single minute of it. I always knew that I wanted to do the 3 years of work and travel in Australia. So I did my farm work and I occasionally got asked from Aussies, can you see yourself living in Australia? And I normally always answered, yes, I can, but I don't think I will until I met my boyfriend. And all of a sudden, I could picture myself actually living in Australia instead of just having the idea in my head. But it just seems like an impossible task to go down the track of a permanent residency because you hear a lot of stories from other people. Someone always knows a friend from a friend that has a partner from overseas, and they tell you stories how exhausting and overwhelming it is to apply for the partner visa and how much money is also involved in doing so. I think everybody knows that it is quite hard to migrate to Australia. A lot of documents needs to be translated and all these things you have to do to get a PR in Australia, not even talking about citizenship. Besides the question, does the sunshine and the no worries lifestyle in Australia compensate for the loss of not seeing friends and family all the time? To live in years of uncertainty? It took me over a year to finally admit that I actually wanted to live this life here because I felt really guilty to speak it out loud that I wanted to change my privileged life for another privileged life. Not only is English not my first language, Australia also has a different culture and a different approach to certain things. The German bluntness can be seen as quite rude and harsh, something that feels completely normal to me. You know what you get with Germans. I had to adapt in so many different ways, and on my darkest days, I felt so extremely exhausted to just figuring life out that I just wanted to go back to live an easy life. But I knew that I didn't really wanted to do that, and I just couldn't go back to it. My partner is incredibly supportive, but I had to go through this myself because I'm the only person that can navigate these emotions that are coming and going in waves and the doubts that are sometimes creeping up in the middle of the night. It can be incredibly exhausting to move to another place that is also 16,000 kilometers away from your home. From navigating different visas to try to not do anything wrong that could lead to a rejected visa. Who am I to leave my friends and family for what? Sunshine and rainbows down under? I started to ask myself some questions. Where do I want to live? What do I want to work? What if my visa gets rejected? What if something happens at home and I have to be there? What if I can't handle the homesickness? From traveling Australia and always staying places temporarily, all of a sudden everything felt very permanent. I am no longer traveling, I am building a life. I felt like my identity was shifting. My life turned 180 degrees. I was trying to figure out who I was now that I was someone from overseas and not someone that was a citizen in Germany for 27 years. And you already have your place in the country that you were born in. I'm normally always the person that gets pretty much immediately asked, where's your accent from? And from there, I'm the person from overseas or the person from Germany. And you know, it's funny because I'm no longer German, but I'm also not Australian. I'm something in between not a lot of people would ever get to experience in their life or will ever fully understand. And all of a sudden, I'm taking on Australian traditions while I'm missing the German ones. I speak English every single day and German occasionally, and normally only on the phone to my friends or family. I think in German and I also think in English. I am a completely different person to 3.5 years ago, and I'm not saying I'm a better person, I'm just different. Everything is slowly changing. I need to catch a 24-hour plane ride to see my friends and family, compared to a few years ago when I just hopped in my car and drove a few minutes to see them whenever I wanted. I am missing birthdays, weddings, friends having children, funerals, and all the little things that are happening in their life. This is certainly hard sometimes. And besides all of that, I'm trying to figure out healthcare, taxes, renting, immigration, banking, and general cultural differences. You constantly wonder if you are doing something wrong, which I never experienced in Germany because when you're born into the system and you get everything passed on from your parents, some things you never have to figure out, really. And if you move to the other side of the world that also has a different language, you are figuring things out from absolutely zero sometimes. But you know, what I get in return definitely compensates for the loss. The freedom Australia is giving me is unmatched. The no hierarchy approach is something I absolutely love, as well as the no worries attitude that I also pretty much took over. Also, the amount of respect people are showing to each other and how welcoming people are in this country. And also, obviously, the endless nature in this country and the vastness, the outback, the cities at the oceans. There's so many reasons I could tell you right now why I love Australia and why I feel like this is where I want to live and where I want to be. People often ask me, is it worth leaving Germany behind? But I don't think that's actually the right question because I never really left Germany behind. Germany will always be my home, and Australia just became another one. And that's probably the hardest part about migration. Your heart doesn't move from one country to another. It learns to belong to two places at the same time. And I'm not saying Australia is better for me. I'm just saying that Australia fits me better. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And this will be the last video of the series before we're heading off to WA. We're just a few days out. So the next video will be about our trip. I will see you then. Bye.